What's going on, everybody? Dog Van Dan here. So by now, probably many people have already heard about the facts and the fundamentals of the Focus 2.0 system. I'm just going to kind of go through what they've got listed in the developer workshop, just to kind of talk about it a bit for everybody that doesn't know about it, and see what your thoughts are. I'm kind of mixed on a lot of things, but I really am anxious to see how it actually plays out when we get into the plains of Eidolon. Because, I mean, we see it on paper, it could be good, it could be bad, maybe it doesn't seem right to us, but really until we actually get our hands on it and see it and play it, then we can actually tell the difference. So, let's get down to this. It's been about 2 years since they had the first Focus system, obviously upon completion of the second dream, so that's how you get into the whole Focus thing. But the core purpose of this rework is to shift the goals of the Focus system from supplementing Warframes to actually making your operators more combat ready. And this means there will be more of a balance between passives and actives under the 2.0 system. I'm not a huge operator player, so maybe this will make me want to play it more. I don't know. We'll see what happens. First off, let's get some facts out of the way here. Install lenses will be removed and returned to your inventory. This should give you yourself some time to study the new system before you reinstall any of these. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about here. All spent focus points will have been returned, and you can respec your skill trees. Okay. There are 3 different sets of lenses, basically. So there's original focus lens, which is the 1.25% affinity. There's the greater lenses, which are currently the 1.75% affinity. And there will be one more. They're toying with the name Eidolon Ostron lenses, but they're going to be a 2.25% affinity blueprints for that last category. But they're going to require multiple greater lenses to craft. And they will be rewarded through the Plains of Eidolon bounty system. So, I mean, 2.25%, it's a 0.5% over the 175. It's a whole percent, of course, over the basic. So, I mean, it'll help. But we'll see exactly how many greater lenses it does take to get into one of those. So, they want to talk a little bit about passive, residuals, and actives. Actives, in their current form of the public build, where your operator is at 100 HP pool for the operator, the active and passive focus paths in Focus 2.0 aim to increase your operator's survivability and to give you the option to approach combat and added operator support and armaments. So only a few encounters will necessitate this. Oh my gosh, I can't speak. Anyway, and as this game, the feedback grows, they will maybe develop it a little bit more. So it's going to be limited in how you're going to use it at this point. But, of course, feedback. Nothing more important than feedback. As far as the focus schools themselves, they're going to have a clear cut the trees and the old system, and they're rebuilding entirely new ability paths, which also include cross-focus nodes that you can unlock within different trees. Many of the benefits of the new focus trees are linked to your activation of your operator, or operator abilities like the Void Dash, the Void Blast, the Void Mode. So if you remember anything from this point on, pretty much what I'm going to tell you is everything is subject to change. I'm going to go through these classes here, just kind of talk about them, and give me some examples, case studies, if you will, of each focus system or each focus tree, and then you feel free to leave comments below. Also, like I said a second ago, cross focus unlocks. This is for players who delve deep into the focus trees. 2 passive nodes for each tree can be made a universal once it's maxed for substantial focus cost. These passives become available regardless of the school you are using, and one can only truly complete a focus tree by exploring all 5 of the 10 ways. So in order to get these extra passives, you're going to really have to work hard or these cross-focus unlocks, you're going to really have to work hard to get everything. But okay, let's break this down. Okay, so Narumon, kind of an example here. Banshee under heavy corpus fire. A barrage of super projectiles are coming towards you. Let's see, as a Narumon, you engage transference and enter operator mode, and use your Void Blast an enemy, and it will disarming blast is what you will, more or less. Your beam has a high chance to basically disarm all enemies unlucky enough to be caught in the path of the beam. Then you return back to your Warframe and do what you got to do. So there's going to be some residuals here. The starting node is an affinity spike. It's a residual effect that grants you more affinity on melee kills. And basically what they're talking about here on all of these residuals is that once you activate the operator for the first time, it will remain for the whole mission. So when I talk about activating the operator first time, you're going to say the second dream activation, simply calling out your operator even. So it's not like you're going to have a major wait time like before, you know, where you had to wait for everything to come up. But in this case, you can actually just call out your operator, from my understanding. And then the other thing on the Narumon here is, and the residual is a melee damage residual node, where the effect grants up to 50% more damage on melee kills. And again, once you activate your operator, that stays with you for the whole mission. Xeneric. Now this one's going to be interesting because this is, you know, this is the big one, right? We all know about Xeneric, the energy thing, right? So firstly, about energy overflow. Currently, energy overflow works passively for the single player, and we're experimenting with an active, more powerful party-wide buff, which I talked about in another video. And 2.0 currently has a placeable party-wide energy buff in Xeneric that stacks with other Xeneric users. So think of it like an area of effect energy restore consumable that Void Dashing can create. And they'll follow up with it in update notes about this once we learn about the energy gain. It's kind of like what they're talking about in a combat scenario. You're with your Mesa, protecting your defense points from hordes of Grineer. Your frame runs out of energy. No energy restores equipped. Right. You quickly switch to your operator and Void Dash on your objective. This will create a bubble where you land, in which you and your teammates can charge up quickly to make some peace, more or less, get your energy back. I'm not really sure what I think about that yet, but, you know, like I said, I want to give it time. I want to see how it plays out and if that's kind of how it's going to be put in the final version of this. Taking a look at some of the residual nodes. Okay. The starting residual node here would be the Energy Pulse, which is a effect that grants you the radial energy pickup effect for teammates. And the other one is a Channeling Efficiency residual effect that grants up to 50% more channeling efficiency on melee. Looks like a lot of heavy melee focus here. But those are going to be your residual nodes, I think, that you can pretty much take with you once you get them all opened up. So that'll be interesting. I don't know, really, but I'm gonna hold down and hope for the best with the energy overflow change thing. So we'll see. The Unario in Unaru. There we go. Like I said, I can't speak today, guys. I'm sorry. So basically. Here, say, take Atlas on a mobile defense. Suddenly, you have a nasty Nox coming your way. Switching over to your operator, you Void Dash through him, sundering some of his armor and crippling his damage output. You remain in Void mode near your teammates and grant them invisibility as they deal they deal with the enemy from a safety of the shadows. So. We're talking some interesting things with the Unaru. There we go. I think I said it right. Residual nodes here. So you got the Mirror Flare, which is an effect that reflects damage back at the attackers. And the other one would be an armor buff, so granting an armor increase for Warframes and operators. Interesting. There's some really... yeah, interesting. Extra buffs. Okay, I could deal with an extra armor buff. We'll see how that plays out. Alright, moving on. The Matter Eye. So what they're talking about here in a combat scenario would be like Loki. Decides to play with a bit of a trick with some of the Grineer and units he detects nearby by slipping into a transference. His operator cloaks himself. Each second spent cloaked significantly increases the damage of the next attack. After enough sneaking, the operator fires at the Grineer are no more. So basically what we're talking about with the Matter Eye is going to be interesting. Slipping into a transference where he can actually cloak himself. And the longer you're there, the more damage you get. Okay. Okay, so residual nodes here. You'll be talking Phoenix Talons. So this effect would grant you an increased physical damage. And the other one is going to be Phoenix Spirit, where the effect that grants you increased elemental damage. Okay, physical or elemental. Okay, I can see that. And again, these are all activated by activating your operator, and then they remain with you for the whole mission. So, and then you got the Verizon. So, what you'd be talking about here in a combat scenario would be, let's say, Rhino, and with the Saren in your squad, you're pummeling droves of enemies in a survival mission. Your body count climbing higher and higher. As you check out your HUD, you see Saren is taking heavy damage. So with impeccable agility, Rhino with agility, sure. You begin transference and the void dash through her to grant complete immunity to damage for a limited time. When you return to your Rhino, you stomp and kill the enemies. So Bazarin, it looks like, is going to be able to... okay, grant complete immunity to damage. Now the question would be for how long is the limited time, but I mean, it could work out. Residual nodes here would be Mending Unity, so effect that would grant you an increased affinity radius. And the other one would be Mending Soul, where the effect that grants you instant revives for your allies. Interesting. But there is also going to be new things that they didn't include in this developer update, where we're talking about weaponry and arcane-like enhancements for your operators that you're getting when they become true Eidolon hunters. So that'll be interesting. And there's other brand new things that in more updates. So when I find out more, I'll let you know more. And also what they did over the weekend, they decided to do an update as well where they're saying that the daily cap will likely increase to 250,000 XP, and convergent orbs will boost focus gains from 6 times to an 8 times for the duration. So that shouldn't be too bad. At least that will help out in terms of getting through focus leveling maybe, but at the same time, when I think about it, if it's going to go up to 250k, how much do we have to actually do in terms of the changeover from leveling now versus leveling in this update? Anyway, please feel free to share this video. Please feel free to comment below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for tuning in.